Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about this week's TV news. This is our weekly TV news show. Obviously, we talk about new shows in development, casting updates, premiere dates, renewals, that kind of thing. We also use this to give updates on the network and channel as a whole. Anything's changing, anything's coming, and there's some new shows coming up in the next week or so that we're going to be reviewing, that kind of thing. We do all that. At the end of the show, we also pick our favourite episode of TV of the week, which, again, this time of year it's a little bit murky because there's not a lot on.
It's almost not worth doing this past week.
That's
because we typically don't really include the Netflix things on those, generally speaking.
Yeah, we have like two episodes of Travelers and one episode of Star Trek Discovery to decide.
Well, I mean, we had a Runaways.
Oh yeah, Runaways finale was this week.
And an episode of Shield, I guess.
Oh, that's for the Shield, because I always forget that because it was so close to the last news.
Yeah, but see, typically when I do these, I kind of disregard the Netflix ones because they're like, okay, well, that didn't really air this week. We just got to it.
Oh no, that's true.
So that would leave us with Runaways, Discovery.
We can pick a favourite between three shows. That's easy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we do that at the end. That's when we do that. So that's what's happening on the week's show. So this is the second episode, 2018. And if you look at the thumbnails on the YouTube, you'll notice there's a number 2 in the corner.
We're making good progress.
We're
right on schedule.
As you do. We're actually recording this episode this week a little bit earlier than usual. Not a full day, but earlier on in the day. So if anything huge breaks Friday night, don't worry, it'll be in next week's news. But that's why we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's possible. Sometimes news does break on a Friday night. Saturday and Sunday are pretty safe. Generally.
Yeah, but there's oftentimes you'll do the news this time on a Friday that we're recording now, and then it'll come to recording time and you'll go through and do an update, and you'll sometimes have a reasonable amount to add on.
3 or 4 more interesting things to so it does happen, so don't worry if there's something missing that you think, oh, that was huge. It'll be next week. So in terms of updates, though, we mentioned obviously we had the Runaways finale this week, so the review of that's up. We also had the last couple episodes of Travelers. We did those this week. Obviously that had been going since the 26th of December, but that's all 12 episodes of season 2 now finished and reviewed, so go check out those if you're interested. Star Trek Discovery's back, of course. That was its mid-season premiere.
Came back strong.
It did come back strong, I'm happy to say. So that's cool. In terms of next week, we have some stuff coming back. In particular, we have the CW DC shows. We have Supergirl, we have Flash, and we have Arrow coming back, and we have the premiere of Black Lightning.
That means anyone who has been watching television from the multiverse and is not enjoying the off-season discussions of things such as Smallville, they have something to look forward to.
You kidding? They're enjoying our pain.
Oh, they must be.
I think they are, yeah. I think they're almost disappointed the shows are coming back because it means we're going to be talking about other things. That said, we're fairly painful during Arrow as well, so, I mean...
Well, I mean, you're painful, I'm drunk.
Whilst watching, not whilst discussing it.
That's true. I just have no recollection while we get to the discussion.
So that's the thing. Black Lightning will be part of that show on a weekly basis. However, for the first episode, mainly this is a kind of cynical thing, but we will have the standalone review recorded middle of the week and put that up as its own thing. Mainly because the episode 1s tend to attract a lot of attention, so it's basically just to sort of grab in some new people maybe to the show. But from then on, it'll be edited back into the full episode at the end of the week, and it'll also, from that point on, episode 2 onwards, will be in the Television for the Multiverse podcast.
The big weekly roundup.
Yeah. And of course, if you don't know what TV's the Multiverse is, it's basically just us reviewing TV shows like the other stuff. It's just all the DC shows grouped together in one kind of podcast that we do once a week rather than individually spread out, mainly to save time more than anything else. But people seem to like the show overall, so it's working out. So that's what's coming up next week. All DC shows are back. It's the following week after that we get a couple of interesting pilots. It's actually the end of next week, starting technically. But...
And do you know? So one of them is something we've been looking forward to for a while. Counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where it was, but I saw the early reviews and buzz started to come out.
Oh.
One person said they were confident that this is going to be the best new show of 2018.
That is intriguing. Yes.
Yeah.
Because the trailer was okay. The trailer didn't blow me away.
The trailer didn't, but just on premise alone, it's like this should be fantastic. And it's a lot of TV shows have rough trailers.
Yeah, no, that's true. So, hey, if it's a slow-paced show, sometimes it's hard to cut a trailer for a slow-paced story. It just is.
It is, yeah.
You see it with movies all the time where they'll actually missell the movie just so they can have an action-packed trailer. I think It Comes at Night last year was a good example of that, where they sold it as this monster movie and it's all this, and it's actually a really slow-paced, just character paranoia film.
It's the reality of the trailer industry, and I get it. I don't like it, but I understand it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. For me personally, if you want to give me a minute-long trailer that's just a mood, like it's just one shot and it's all moody, and then something happens at the end, I'd love that. But I get why they don't think that'll sell a show to like 99% of people.
Yeah,
I get it.
They want people to come and check it out, and
So,
I can appreciate
that's
that.
the thing. I mean, we'll remind you of that next week because that'll be after the next news because it's late Sunday that premieres. But so that's all the updates going forward. So we can get into the news of the week. Now, we're starting off with quick but big news that I know.
Oh, God.
No, I think Connor's going to be very happy about this.
Ooh, okay. I don't know if I know this.
I've got a good feeling you're going to be delighted at this news. You brace yourself?
I'm concerned that you're being a dick here, and I'm going to hate this. Go on.
Young Sheldon has been renewed for season 2 by CBS.
Do you know what? I don't even give a shit. I just don't give a shit anymore. I mean, I did see some people say it was actually a lot better than anything The Big Bang Theory ever did. I have no interest in ever seeing it. I don't need to see it. I did see there's rumours of Big Bang Theory ending after season 12. I'm happy about that.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. They have to pay the cast like $1.5 million per episode at this
it was
point.
One of the main cast in an interview was saying, yeah, we're looking at wrapping it up after 12. I don't know what season they're on now. Maybe it is 12.
Yeah, well, it's a combination of two things. One, the cast will be desperate to go and do different things, and secondly, because every time they have to renew the contracts, it was the same thing with Friends. By the time we got to season 10 of Friends, they were all getting paid $1 million per episode. So I mean, just the 6 main cast alone in Friends in the last season, that was, I mean, I think it was a shorter season, but even at like 18 episodes, it was like 18 million per cast member.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a lot.
yeah, which to be fair is 99.9% of the budget of a sitcom is the cast because
It is, but that is still extreme.
yeah, because the set this location ain't costing much on one of those shows. It's just a soundstage.
They've got the sets for, however many years at that point.
Yeah.
Whatever season you're on.
But hey, so Young Sheldon's been renewed. Normally that's not a thing. I wouldn't probably normally even bother putting that on. I just thought it'd be funny because it's Young Sheldon, and
I just don't give a shit anymore. CBS can do whatever the hell they want. I'm just not going to pay attention.
well, and hopefully more interesting news. We got a full 2+ minute trailer for Altered Carbon, the Netflix show, which is premiering February 2nd. So we're looking forward to checking that out. We'll definitely be trying that, and most likely reviewing the whole thing unless it stinks.
Unless it's for somehow utter shite, yeah, because it looks like it's going to be pretty great.
It does look good. It looks expensive. I said that before when I got the quick glimpse of it, but when you see shots of the flying cars, it looks about as good as a new Blade Runner movie. It does.
It's
insane.
does, and that's saying something.
It looks really good. Obviously, this trailer actually gives you a bit more of the plot, the premise. Where I mean, we knew this anyway from the descriptions and whatnot. But so Joel Kinnaman wakes up, and like bodies are kind of like not reused, but they basically have bodies to put people into because people theoretically live forever now because they can just keep being put into new bodies. It's transferring of consciousness, and he's actually been asleep for a while, which I did not know about. I thought he'd just came from before.
Body to body.
Yeah, but it seems like he's been gone for a while, and he's been called out of storage, if you will, because there's been a crime and he has to investigate it. And we see some fights, we see some stuff going on. You see Dickin Lauren? I can't remember. I can't. Even when I know her name, I can't. I hate saying it because it sounds like I'm cracking a joke, and I don't mean to be. From Dollhouse, who I like very much, and she was on Shield. Yeah,
I know who you're on about.
There's some quick glimpses of her in the trailer, so that was nice to see. But no, it looks atmospheric. Honestly, my only worry at this point, other than just generally the writing being bad, my only worry is that they actually do full Blade Runner and the plot is really boring.
It's possible.
That is my only concern.
The thing is, it seems like it's a murder mystery, which I didn't know about that either. I'll be honest. I really kind of knew nothing before this trailer, other than the quick glimpse of the visuals, and the to keep it with the Blade Runner stuff, the murder mystery stuff in that should be good, but is tedious.
Yeah, the plot in Blade Runner, exceptional in almost every other way, but the plot is tedious.
Yes, yeah. So he's hoping they can actually make it a proper good murder mystery, and
Well, here's the
it'll be
thing: they've
fun.
got 10 episodes. Hopefully, you got the right people behind it, and it'll be nice.
Just look, I swear, we get one scene of him sitting at a screen and going, "Enhance." I'm turning it off. That's the line.
What if he says no? He has to say it multiple times. If he just says it once and it just sort of goes and does something cool, then it's fine. But if he sits there for 10 minutes, enhance. Vector 4 by Vector 73, enhance. Pan right, enhance. That is that scene from Blade Runner. It's not just the enhance. There's like 6-7 steps to that whole goddamn thing.
I think if I hear enhance in that show, that's it. I'm gone. I'm checked out.
But no, it looks pretty good. Obviously, it's Netflix's next big thing. Hopefully, it ends up being a winner, and and not something that we go, oh, this looks really pretty, but it's not that great. Hopefully,
just they needed more big things, didn't they?
Well, it's a thing for the start of February. We basically have an early. Basically, February has something at the start of February, has something at the end of February. We have an early March thing. We've got a late March thing.
What's the late February one?
7 seconds. That one's less of a sure thing, but we'll definitely be trying it.
Yeah. It's less interesting, but
inherently. But I mean, we'll give it a chance. I mean, it may end up being quite good.
Yeah.
But given how they're spacing these out, it does kind of feel like their big sort of budget pillars are spaced out that way for a reason.
I think they must know how long on average it takes people to watch. And they're going, and they think this is the right amount of time between these shows, clearly.
Yeah, and they've got stuff on the other weeks, but they're different. They're comedies or they're animated shows. They're different types of thing.
Yeah. They know who they're appealing to with what shows.
So yeah, so hopefully Alt Carbon's good. Hopefully 7 Seconds is good. Hopefully season 2 of Jessica Jones is good, because the Marvel Netflix shows.
I'm really worried about that one.
Have been in a rough place for us the last couple of goes, and I'm not worried about Lemony Snicket's a series of unfortunate events season 2.
Safe. It's going to be the same thing, which is a good thing.
I'm pretty confident on that one. No reason to suspect they'll nosedive. All right, moving on to next thing. So it's rare that I actually get a bit of Game of Thrones news, but I saw this and I thought, you know what, I'll take this. Because we actually have a surprising lack of TCA news, mainly because most of the TCA stuff was the networks, and for the most part, they didn't really announce much new stuff. It was mostly, here's some premiere dates for things we don't care about. Here's some.
It is weird. We normally get a bunch of trailers, like.
No, you're thinking of the upfronts.
No, we usually get some early trailers at the TCAs.
You're thinking of the upfronts.
No, I'm sure we definitely usually get some early trailers.
No,
not the full slate, the short ones.
Define the short ones.
Yeah, like the minute-long trailers.
I don't remember those at all. I remember 5-minute long spoil the entire pilot trailers at the upfronts. Those ones. Which, and the upfronts, for the record, are around May-ish. That's when we get to those.
Yeah. I don't know about those ones.
If you're keeping track of the TV calendar year and when we expect these kind of things. But anyway, so there was some Game of Thrones news when HBO were, talking about various things. Not a small tidbit, just slightly related. They mentioned they're shooting the Watchmen pilot this year sometime. So
March.
Was it
according
March?
to other reports that we had over the Christmas break, I saw that.
But what they've said here, so obviously Game of Thrones is coming back for a 6-episode final season in 2019. But the main thing here was just talking about the spin-off prequel shows, and they were saying that two things: do not expect it to be seeded in the final season. The final season of Game of Thrones is the final season of Game of Thrones, and in no way it will be a backdoor pilot or anything like that. There'll be no. Good. Setting stuff up.
I think you've only got 6 episodes. Don't waste your time.
Yeah. Second thing is the absolute earliest you will see the spin-off that gets greenlit will be a year after the final season. So it'll be 2020 at the earliest. So don't start thinking they're going to 2019 is the final Game of Thrones season year. We're not even going into 2019 with this. This will be 2020 at the earliest.
Yeah.
It's not bad news necessarily, but
I mean that sounds like what I'd expect on schedule from this. One. They've only got 6 episodes. They got a lot to wrap up. Don't divert anything away from that. And 2, I know at least one of the spin-offs will be from people who work on the main show, so they're going to want them to finish before they get started on the next one.
There's nothing surprising about this, but I thought it was noteworthy enough that they came out and said, no, this isn't going to happen, and then this will happen in X amount of time. Just getting some calendar stuff there. They mentioned a few other things, like The Big Little Lies Season 2 will be shooting in the spring, couple of little updates like that for various shows. Not stuff that we typically cover, but there was a few things like that mixed in there. Next up, here's something I did not expect to be getting in the news cycle from these shows this year. And I'm very happy about this.
I have no idea where you're going with it.
I'm feeling very positive.
I'm weirdly out of the loop this week. I feel like I've seen, like, I didn't see that Game of Thrones thing. I didn't see the young Sheldon. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I usually see at least some of this stuff.
So things are feeling quite positive right now as to whether Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will get a season 6.
Do you know what? I did see this one.
All that build up. I'm out of the loop this week.
This is the first news story so far I'm aware of.
Right. So basically, at the TCAs, we're talking about it, and you know, we've had a lot of reason to speculate that maybe it's not going to be around much longer. Partly because we'd all heard the stories that Disney stepped in and told ABC to renew it, and so on. Although, admittedly, I wonder if this renewed positivity gets something to do with the fact that Inhumans completely tanked and cost a lot of money.
In this same section where I think it was the CEO of ABC was talking about this.
Entertainment President Channing Dungey? I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He mentions, he says, things are looking good for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and another show he mentions.
I'll give you the exact quote here for S.H.I.E.L.D. just before we. Creatively, this season I honestly think is the strongest it's ever been, and we've been really excited about what the producers are talking about for the second half of the season. The producers are expected to meet soon with ABC and executives to pitch their ideas for season 6, which will factor into the network's renewal decision. So. Right now, it's seeming kind of positive, which honestly I was not expecting. So I'm actually I'm pleasantly surprised by this.
I saw a separate quote of him talking. He said, I think season 6 is looking potentially likely. He said, Inhumans, on the other hand, probably not.
No, what I got for Inhumans is that they've not even made a decision. They've not officially cancelled it yet. But here's the thing. Last year, they rushed to production so they could make, I think it was Labor Day, because that was when the slot was in Marvel's thing. It was also when IMAX wanted it. And they went through all that effort last year, and it got met with a low box office for the IMAX release, low critical reception, which was, dire, including our review, by the way.
He made a point of saying the ratings were really low on it.
And the ratings, that was the last thing.
Yeah.
It was the ratings on Friday night on the actual network were really dire. Joe, it's funny. You look at that and you go, which one's the worst? I mean, I think from my personal point of view, I think the critical reception being like in the toilet, like less than Iron Fist, is where I'd say is the worst thing. But I mean, I suppose it's up to them what they decide.
Yeah, but from a TV network, I don't give a shit if it's still making money.
If it's still making money, I think here's the weird thing though. I think, and we've seen it with other shows, where if something is critically really well received, but it only does okay ratings wise, actually they like that as well because it gives them a bit of prestige.
But this thing, it can be critically shite. But if it makes money, fine. We'll keep it going.
As long as it's not critically panned for controversial reasons. I'm thinking like like Two Broke Girls get into a lot of hiccups along the way because people were.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we started this by saying young Sheldon got renewed, and Big Bang Theory's on season.
I'm not giving
whatever.
ABC that much credit, but I give them more credit than CBS. I'll do that much. I am delighted to hear this though. That it's not a done deal that it's gone. It's actually kind of nice to hear. Oh, maybe
I kind of expected this to be the last. I'm not gonna lie, and I was okay with that.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I was like 5 seasons is a great run. I think go out on their own terms, but I will also take a season 6. I will happily take a season 6. So, you know what? Give me it. I
just hope they know when it comes to the moment. Early enough.
We say this every time we talk about this. So just quickly. You hope that when they hit the final episode, they know it's the last episode, so they've actually got a final ending. And leave it at that. We're not talking about this again, because every time this comes up, we do the same conversation.
I was just going to say, with the way they're talking about that they want them to pitch for next season now, I hope they can kind of give them an early definitive with that pitch.
So let's move on to the next thing. So I don't know if you remember, we're getting a Vampire Chronicles TV show, or at least it's in development.
I don't remember what that is.
It's Christopher Rice, who is Anne Rice's son, is the writer of the book.
Okay.
All right. The plot here, where is it? Actually, I don't actually have much of a synopsis for this story. It just says The Vampire Chronicles series follows vampire Lestat de Lioncourt, who serves as hero, anti-hero, and narrator. So not a whole lot of plot in that. I'm sure when we first announced this, still had a big...
Phenomenal name.
What, Lioncourt? Lestat de Lioncourt?
Lestat de Lioncourt, yeah.
It's alright. It's alright.
Pretty good. But very, very aristocratic.
But the news with this is that a certain name in the TV industry has jumped on board to... I don't know if it's quite to helm it, but certainly help produce it. And that is Brian Fuller.
Okay. I mean, is he going to jump ship in 6 months?
Probably. I mean, he's got a lot of other stuff on his plate. Like, he's got that Amazing Stories over at Apple, and...
Well, that's about it, because he gave up on everything else.
They gave up on everything else.
Did he not? I thought he dropped everything else to do that one.
Is that still American Gods, or did he drop that as well?
No, I'm pretty sure he dropped that as well.
He'd already dropped Star Trek, so...
Yeah.
Which I'm glad about. I don't like Brian Fuller that much.
I'm pretty sure he dropped Star Trek for American Gods, and I think he dropped American Gods for that other one.
Aye, well, so he'll drop this when something else comes along. There you go.
Yeah.
But hey, so basically there was a whole story about how when he was younger in the 1980s, Anne Rice apparently got a call from a teenager who wanted to adapt her book into a movie. And Rice passed along, here's some contact details from the people who own the rights to the story for movie rights. And it never went anywhere. But apparently that was a young Brian Fuller who is now going to be helping adapt this TV show. Like, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big Brian Fuller guy. I feel like this makes me less likely to like the show if it ever comes about. But I'll try
vampires. I like Fuller.
I like vampires when they're done right.
Yeah, but most vampire things are right. It's only recently that certain things have got shit.
You know, if you do it like, say, the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you knew it was coming, Connor.
I know. We're in a story about vampires. It was only narrative. I'm surprised you waited as long as you did, frankly.
Well, you know, you better build up a bit of suspense. But... I don't know, I feel like most TV vampire stuff in the last while, basically since Buffy and Angel have been off the air, have not done a whole lot for me. Like True Blood I didn't really like, you know, I watched a little bit of it. I never tried the Vampire Diaries, but why would I?
Yeah, I know. That was passable by the look. You know, one glance I'm like, no tar.
Yeah, so no, I just, you know, and I'm sure there's been other things that I've kind of avoided. I mean, Van Helsing had potential, but it was more zombie vampires than it was vampires. So I don't know what to necessarily think of this. Like, I don't know. My gut tells me they're going to lean into the romance side of Dracula. Well, not Dracula, but you know, Lestat.
Vampires in general. Yeah. I'm not opposed to that. Depending on how it's played as a romance. Is it is it CW romance or is it Dracula romance?
I'm not. Yeah, I like it in the book Dracula. I very rarely like it when they try to portray it on screen. Because they go for the lowest common denominator. Here's some trashy romance things to enjoy.
Yeah,
not true. Always. There's a reason why I like Nosferatu. Werner Herzog, 1979, the best when it comes to my Dracula adaptations.
Cool. I've not seen that one.
Not seen that one. Original Nosferatu from the 20s is also good.
I've seen that one. That one's pretty good.
And I do enjoy the 31 Dracula as well. And the Hammer one's okay, but they're all old though, is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I can't dispute that.
When it comes to vampire, I mean, it's not that I don't like vampire romance. You look at Let the Right One In. You look at A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. You look at Near Dark. You find some vampire romance stories that I quite like, but you know.
Yeah. Do we know what network this is on yet?
No, it's just been developed. There's no.
That's what I thought. I think a lot of the tone of the romance will depend on where it lands.
No, that is absolutely correct. So let's move on. Okay, so we got not a great story here. So James Franco's been accused of sexual harassment and misconduct from 5 separate individuals. I'm not going to go too deep into that. Obviously, awful, the usual things. We've said this before for all these other stories that have popped up in the last little while.
I'm kind of bored of saying it because it's the same thing every time.
The reason why I'm bringing this up though is just in how it affects the Deuce, if it affects it at all, because that's kind of the more related part of the thing. Yeah. All I'll say in Franco himself right now is that he himself is saying that the details are inaccurate for what has been said about him, but let the people who are investigating that investigate it. and we'll leave that there. But the Deuce right now is still on schedule to start shooting when it's going to shoot in this year. They're in pre-production just now for season 2. HBO looked into the production of the Deuce itself and found that there were no complaints or anything regarding that show when he was acting or directing in the season 1. So there's no complaints directly related to the Deuce, and the showrunners have said that they're not aware of anything that's happened on set. So seemingly they're going ahead right now without any hesitation until they hear otherwise from
that makes sense. I feel like, you know, a lot of the other cases we had, these celebrities in question kind of copped up to it.
Yeah, so even if it wasn't intentional, it was kind of like obvious they were admitting it.
Yeah, whereas this one, if he's outright saying, no, that's not what happened, they kind of have to go, right, well, we'll investigate further before we do anything. Yeah,
so it's obviously it's being investigated right now. But I thought it was worth the update, and just knowing that it could affect the Deuce depending on where it goes with future information. So, alright, so like the comedies, because that leads us on to comedies naturally, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Great. That might be the worst segue you've ever had.
I was pointing out how bad it was. That was the point of the joke.
I just want to really emphasize that you've had some shit segues, and that might be the worst one.
Okay, so first up, Hulu's given a pilot order to a comedy called Search and Destroy from the co-creator of Portlandia, Carrie Brownstein. Search and Destroy is loosely based on her best-selling memoir, Hunger Makes Me a Modern Girl, as well as her experiences as a young musician growing up in the Pacific Northwest during the underground feminist punk rock movement in the 1990s. That's a really specific time period. It is described as a show about a young woman, a band, a community learning how to be unafraid of their own noise. So it's all describing the setting of where the comedy takes place.
Could be good. I mean, I've not seen that other show, Portlandia, was it?
Yeah, no, me neither.
Yeah, so I'm no judge for the comedic tone.
It's an interesting setting, though. I feel like I've not seen punk rock, feminist, Pacific Northwest. You know, it's very specific. It feels very personal, and I have no idea what a comedy from Hulu is necessarily like. In terms of tone,
I don't think we've tried any, have we?
I don't think so. So no, we'll be curious to see how it shapes up. But hey ho. So they'll order a pilot for that. So we'll see if it goes anywhere. Now next up, we don't talk about this network a lot, but True TV have ordered 2 comedies.
Oh, get them.
Or more specifically, 2 half-hour shows. It's debatable if the second one's a comedy or not. I don't know if it is, but it is a half-hour show.
Right. Okay.
But here we go. So the first one, new True TV, is put in development Tacoma FD, a half-hour comedy that has received a pilot order. The creators are Kevin Heffernan and Steve Lem, who people may know from Super Troopers. They're behind that. I've never seen that movie, but I've heard people love it. So they'll put on uniforms for the new Firehouse series set in the wettest city in America, which means they are firefighters who are always ready to fight fires, but usually have to contend with fighting their own boredom. So it's a workplace comedy set at a fire station.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
hey,
sure, solid.
I'm cool with it. Admittedly, I don't know what their type of humour is like because I've never seen Super Troopers. That said, if you told me you were doing Parks and Rec or you were doing Brooklyn Nine-Nine but in a fire station, give me it. I'll take it.
How many jokes are there going to be in the first episode about going down the pole?
Maybe or maybe what they'll do with that, because there's a lot of fire stations now that are only one floor and they don't have a pole. Because
everyone will go around going, where's the pole?
And like, we don't need a pole. There's no upstairs.
Still want a pole though, don't you?
Just with a little staircase up to the top of the pole.
Even if it's just a little ladder. It's like, right, alright, go on, up you go.
And then the end of the first episode, the captain goes out to a store and buys a stripper pole just to make them happy and installs it into the fire station.
This shit writes itself.
I almost want the entire cast of Brooklyn Nine-Nine just to play different characters, but essentially the same characters, but in the fire station.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Holt's the captain still. Peralta's still the one who thinks he's the hot shot.
Yeah. Oh man, yes. Hauntless.
Rosa's still the tough, like, scary one.
Yeah.
Boyles is Boyles.
And she definitely gets sent to rescue the cats out of the tree.
And she hates it. Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
and then when she gets the cat, she's like all cuddled, and
Yeah.
she's like,
It's like,
oh,
this is just too easy.
yeah, it writes itself. Yeah, do it, True TV.
Steal their cast.
Well, Brilliant Ending's probably ending soon.
It's true. Just keep them all together and go, hey, come over here.
All right. So next, also True TV. So have you ever heard of Bobcat Goldthwait?
Sorry, what?
Have you ever heard of Bobcat Goldthwait?
No, are you sure you're saying that right?
I'm positive. I know how to say his name. I'm familiar with him already.
Okay. Then no.
Got Bobcat Goldthwait. I said it wrong that time. I was too confident that time because you made me question it. Bobcat Goldthwait, he's done some acting in the past. He used to act in the 80s and 90s. I know him growing up. I knew him from a couple of the Police Academy movies. He was also in a Tales from the Crypt episode that me and Tim did earlier last year. So he was in that sort of era. He was doing the odd thing, comedy usually. But since then, he's become a bit of a director. He actually directs movies. He did a movie called Willow Creek a couple of years ago that I saw. That was like a found footage movie about a couple looking for Bigfoot. It wasn't great, but there was one like 20-minute sequence at like the start of the third act, end of the second act, that was phenomenal. It was almost worth watching the entire movie for, even though the rest was kind of shitty.
Almost worth. So still don't bother.
Well, no, because can you recommend a 90-minute movie for like one great 15-20-minute chunk?
Depends how bad the other, hour and a bit is.
I'd say I'll say it. It's worth seeing for that chunk, but the ending will annoy you. That's all I'm saying. The ending will annoy you, but it's worth seeing for that chunk. Anyway, the point I'm making is he has got a new 8-episode anthology series coming. It's going to come summer 2018. It's called Misfits Monsters, and it will examine universal truths in society and pop culture and turns them inside out in completely unique and entertainingly absurd ways. Each episode is standalone stories set to subvert the satire of the world we live in, also exploring awkward, flawed characters and telling socially relevant stories with imaginative twists. So, half-hour anthology show.
Sounds pretty good.
That does sound interesting. I'm game. There's also a list of cast that are going to be in these episodes. Not all in the same episode, obviously. The 3 names that stick out to me are Seth Green, because he's Seth Green.
Yeah.
Melissa Joan Hart, because that's the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Of course.
When was the last time you seen her in something?
Probably about a decade and a half ago.
And was it probably episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
It probably was, yeah.
And then you have Danny Pudi from Community.
Okay.
So those are the names that stuck out, but there's a whole big list there if you want to see them. But yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, sounds potentially good.
And if you don't know who Bobcat Goldthwait is, you probably know the sound of his voice if you ever hear him speak. You'll probably that'll trigger because he's got a really distinctive voice. You'll probably hear his voice and go, "Oh, I know that voice."
Cool. I'll make sure to look at it later, and I'll completely forget. So
it's a really unique voice. That's all I'm saying. People who know him will know what I mean. He's got a very distinctive voice. All right, that'll take us on to the dramas. Not a lot of comedies this week. We're light on the network stuff this week. I'm
all right with that. The network stuff typically is the least interesting anway.
There's a couple of things at the end, but there's not a bunch of it.
Oh, so, I bet CBS has got some right shite for us.
So, start off with Netflix, who have ordered a 10-episode series, hour-long supernatural drama called Chambers.
I'm liking what you're saying.
Chambers centers on a young heart attack survivor who becomes consumed by the mystery surrounding the heart that saved her life. However, the closer she gets to uncovering the truth about her donor's sudden death, the more she starts taking on the characteristics of the deceased, some of which are troublingly sinister.
I'm out. This is the amputated hand where you've got an evil hand. That's what this is.
That could be great. What's wrong with that?
No. That's a stupid concept. I hate it.
This could be like a cultish thing, like sinister, dark arts. Like this person was like a evil demon.
I don't care. I hate this. It's the one of the very few supernatural premises I outright hate is the taking on qualities from donors. I hate it with a passion.
We're still trying the first episode, Carl. Calm down now. We're not writing the whole thing off based on one paragraph.
Speak for yourself.
Viewers, we're not writing it all off based on one paragraph.
I'll watch the episode, but it's got a lot of work to overcome. Because, oh boy.
Look, fine. If it's an uphill battle, it's an uphill battle. But we're trying the first episode. Based on this, I think this is worth the first episode try.
You will get me angry, probably, but fine.
That's fine. Maybe you'll be a young heart attack survivor.
Oh, hopefully it'll happen before I have to watch the episode.
Oh dear, God. As I get closer to 30, I'm starting to worry about heart attacks. You know that? I don't want a heart attack.
Yeah.
Not that people in their 30s typically have heart attacks, but still, you know. If I'm getting closer to 30, that means I'm not that million miles away till 40. And then you're into like sketchy territory.
That is how time works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Time moves. I'm still in my 20s though, so hey, thumbs up.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah. Alright, so next, Apple. We're back to Apple.
Oh god.
Who have greenlit their 4th straight to series order. And this has been what, in like a month and a half?
Yeah, maybe.
That Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston morning show thing,
Yeah.
last week's Octavia Spencer thing, and then the Amazing Stories, which is Spielberg and Fuller. That's the 3 so far. This is the 4th. This is a show called C, as in SEE, not the letter. So, which by the way, that's going to be a nightmare to search and shit like that. Like, give it something like else, but whatever.
Just call it IC.
Even that's like I don't know. Call it Sight. Even Sight would be better than C. Anyway.
Really, the one time I make a shitty pun and you overlook it.
What did you say?
I said IC because you have Apple's I in front of everything, and also IC. It still doesn't help you search for it. But one time I thought, fuck it, I'll make a stupid pun.
That's when you choose to drop an F-bomb when we're not supposed to. Is when you're upset that I didn't get the pun right away.
Kind of just slipped out.
So there's not a whole lot of description for this. The only thing we know about it is that it's set in the far future, it's epic, and it's world building.
Ooh, epic. That's a word.
Yeah, it comes from Stephen Knight, the creator of Peaky Blinders. So I don't know, watch that show, but science fiction show clearly set in the future.
I take it back. I just said I haven't heard that word epic in a while. Mm-hmm. It was something I forgot to mention on the Runaways review. They said epic a lot, and I was kind of cringing because I'm like, do kids still say epic? I don't think they'd said epic in like a decade.
Maybe they do. I don't know.
Maybe it's come back around, and for all I know.
You've not been a kid for a decade.
What?
You've not been a kid in a decade.
No, but teenagers in general, like epic. I thought that died out.
Oh, you like to pretend you're that much younger than me, but it's not really that much of a gap.
It's enough that I can remember that.
Okay. So, it's going to be directed by Francis Lawrence, who directed Hunger Games 2 till the end, and the upcoming Red Sparrow. Now, to be fair, I thought Hunger Games 2 was pretty decent, actually. Hunger Games 2 was
the second one, maybe even more than the first.
No, I agree with that. I think the second is the best in the series. 3 and 4, of course, struggled because A, the book was apparently just weaker to begin with, and B, splitting it in 2 was the most ridiculous, stupid idea that anyone ever had.
Yeah. Red Sparrow looks pretty good, though, from the trailers.
It looks okay. Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence again, so clearly they like working together. So that's cool. But he's going to direct this, and so he's going to direct the whole thing, by the sounds of it. The size of the order is not confirmed, but insiders are expecting that it'll be 8 episodes. So, 8 episodes, sci-fi show, one director for the whole thing. This does sound like our kind of bag.
It does. I'm not liking this, that Apple are putting out shit that I'm interested in.
I know.
It's making my Apple boycott feel harder and harder.
I know. You see a doctor a lot, don't you?
No, I'm not taking the bait. I'm not taking the bait. I can see it. I can see what you're gonna say. I'm not taking it. If this was, if I had the opportunity to use a GIF, this would be that's bait from Mad Max.
That's bait.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that was.
And the bait's a nice big shiny red apple.
Oh, piss off.
Okay. But yeah, no, interesting. And Apple they're making a case. It's actually kind of fascinating to me that they're building like their original programming and saying we're going to put these shows out. It's amazing to me that we still don't know what the platform exactly is going to be. They've not because think about Netflix. Netflix announced House of Cards, and that was their big leading thing. And then came Orange Is the New Black. Right, they might have announced both of those before House of Cards started, but it was kind of like tiptoes. It was like just dipping their toes in gradually, and now we're at the point where they're announcing so many shows.
Apple are just diving in.
Yeah, Apple is like, no, here's 4 shows. We've got a slate. We've not even started showing you anything yet, but there's a slate coming.
Yeah, it's funny. Wasn't there rumors like last week of Apple buying Netflix? And
no, it wasn't so much rumors that they were going to. It was more they wanted to or something like that. Like
right.
Netflix, I don't think have any interest in being bought.
No, and also. Makes no sense to me because Apple are clearly trying to do their own thing anyway, like with all this. So
yeah, like would they just like integrate it and be oh no now Apple's Netflix, all these shows are just on Netflix now, which
sure, but then it kind of undermines these announcements for them, doesn't it? Where they're clearly trying to make their own name. They want to do it as they want this to be Apple first and foremost because that's how Apple works.
What do you think they'll call it?
Some shit, probably. I don't know. They've already used up Apple TV.
I know that'd have been obvious if they were going to use
iStream.
iStream. That sounds so much like ice cream. It's not even funny. iStream.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of an Apple pun too that you could make with it. I don't know.
Whatever it'll be of a stupid name that'll be overpriced.
But they've already got 2 shows we're interested in, so I mean,
God, I hate Apple.
Chances are we're going to end up with Apple on top of Netflix.
So I hate them more now that they have things I'm interested in. Because for the longest time, it's been easy to kind of do my boycott. Yeah, okay, the technology is all right. It's overpriced, but it's solid.
Yeah.
But I don't need it. This is stuff I need.
I've got an iPad. I had reasons for getting that at the time because at the time it was the only one that had the resolution that was as big as it was.
Yeah.
Now that's not true anymore, of course. So now if I was getting a new tablet, I'd probably switch. Although here's a question actually. See other tablets like Samsung tablets and maybe your Amazon Fire ones and all that. Do they take like SD cards for more storage?
Depends which one you get. My Amazon one does. I think most Samsung ones will. The Google ones, I don't think do.
Fascinating because one of the biggest because you can't extend the storage in the Apple.
No, because they need a closed system because they're dicks.
Because they're awful,
and they have to have closed loops.
Man, just the thought of putting like a 64 gig SD card in the thing.
I've got one in mine.
Just so I can store like thousands of comics in one go.
Yeah, no, that's what I've got on mine.
I mean, I'm not in the market for a new tablet yet, but when the day comes, a
Definitely
Switch will
one
be
with
made.
expandable storage.
Yeah. A Switch will be made, that's all I'm saying. Alright, so let's move on back to TV news. So, this is not a new thing, we knew about this, it was in development, but it has been officially ordered to series. That is Snowpiercer at TNT. Remember, Jennifer Connelly is going to star in it, and it's based on the 2013 film in the same name by Bong Joon-ho, which was a solid B-movie.
I like it a lot.
I like it. I just don't.
I love how defensive you get over this movie.
But do you know the funny thing is, though, is I like it quite a bit. I do. I think it's a well-shot movie. I think there's good action scenes in it. I just think the ending is really goddamn pretentious and doesn't earn the message that it tries to say. I think the final 10 minutes are
I love any time this comes up.
bordering on garbage.
Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's just overrated, but it's fine.
The rest of it I like. I like the director. I like the cast. I like a lot of things about it. I think a TV show could do a lot with it actually if they're going to really like explore the class system and like is the first season just the story of the movie, which we won't get into for spoilers' sake, but
you should watch the movie.
You probably should watch the movie. Just in case you don't know, set 7 years after. I mean, again, this might be slightly different from the movie in terms of details here. So, just for the record, set 7 years after the world has become a frozen wasteland, the series centers on the remnants of humanity who inhabit a gigantic, perpetually moving train that cycles the globe. As it does, issues of class warfare, social injustice, and politics of survival are raised.
Sounds like the movie so far.
So far. Was it only 7 years in the movie? I can't remember.
I don't recall. I don't know if it actually said explicitly or not, though.
May not matter, but just questioning. Alright, so here's an interesting thing. Hulu getting into the horror game. So
Yeah.
Hulu and of course Blumhouse. Blumhouse, if you don't know who Blumhouse are, they are, well, I mean, you've got the man himself, Blumhouse, but
They are all horror in the past half a decade.
they are like 80% of all horror movies that have been made, or at least the ones that get released in theaters. Obviously, there's a bunch of direct-to-video nonsense that you could find, but in terms of all the stuff you've seen in theaters, they've probably produced most of it.
Yeah.
They are working with Hulu for a horror anthology show, and what makes this unique, right? So you're going to have 12 hour-long standalone story episodes. Sounds great. Here's what's unique, and this is something that we have actually said in the past that Netflix should do with Black Mirror.
It's something we've been talking about for a good year at least now.
We've said, hey, there's no reason why a Black Mirror has to be released at one time. Like, make it an event like once a month. And sure enough, the whole idea with this, it's untitled right now, there's no title for it, but it's going to start in October this year, and you'll get one episode a month. It'll be like a monthly movie of this show.
I love this. We've been saying, since I think it might have even been before season 3 of Black Mirror came out.
Yeah, it was before season 3.
This,
yeah.
That just give it us once a month, because you don't have to hit your schedule of getting everything ready. You can kind of do one and work on you can work on them concurrently, of course, but you can get one rushed out, and then slowly piece them out.
What I think's fascinating about this is, so it's 12 episodes. It'll start in October. Standalone stories, although it does say some narrative device or structural device is expected to connect them. So that could be as simple as the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt to introduce each story. It could be something as simple as that, or could it be something more interesting, like there's actually like they're all set in the same world, so there's some sort of connective like tissue that says, oh, they're all part of the same universe or something, whatever. But regardless, I think what's fascinating about this is that theoretically, you could renew this like 7-8 months into it and actually have episode 1 of season 2 starting on October the following year, so that theoretically, from the viewer's perspective, it would just feel continuous, where you have one a month.
Honestly, that's what I fully expect. Assuming this does reasonably well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first month, they'll expect to do particularly well anyway, because it's October, and it's the big new thing.
Yeah.
If this is still doing well by February, I fully expect them to renew it, and we'll have one for the following October, because they don't want to miss October of all months.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I can totally see them taking a year off and then it comes back the following October. I can see that happening as well, to be fair. But I think if they're smart, and to be fair, there's an argument that is the smarter thing anyway, because you want a bit of time off to make people want it again. But I think it would be fascinating to say, no, this just keeps running, because we can have the next season like already in production, and episodes 1, 2, and 3 are ready to go by the time we hit October, and then we just have to worry about 4, 5, 6, and then so on and so forth.
It's genius.
So this is really cool. I think it's a really interesting thing. I believe this is the first time something like this has happened, where someone said, no, we're going to do it monthly. It's going to be a monthly TV show, and it's going to do it like this. I think that's really fascinating. So it's going to be 12 episodes, one a month. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that I'd want season 2 to start the following October, I would have said make it 13 episodes, so you end in October again.
Yeah.
And then take a year off and come back the following October, but whatever.
But yeah, that's the thing. You want it in October for sure. That makes absolute sense to start there.
Yeah. So just a little addy thing from Hulu here. The monthly format will provide Hulu with original content to feed its audience all year round. It is also intended to help Hulu tap into the horror genre audience, a group that has been somewhat underserved by series television. Which is true. As a horror fan,
there's a few things. I mean, The Exorcist was pretty good.
Yeah, Ash vs Evil Dead fills the sort of goofier side of horror.
Yeah, we've got Channel Zero doing nicely.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm kind of struggling beyond that, I'll be honest.
To be fair, I mean, those are all kind of recent examples, so yeah, it's definitely been more of a recent thing. And we know we have Netflix doing The Haunting of Hill House is coming up.
Yeah, are we expecting that this year?
I would expect it this year, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Probably October, cool. I imagine.
Yeah, that would make sense. There's just not that much horror TV, is there? And I think in part it's because typically horror movies have a very low audience compared to a lot of other things.
They're also very stylized, and you don't necessarily have time to be stylized in a TV show.
But here's the thing that does surprise me in some ways that they haven't done. Horror movies tend to be cheap.
They do, and
like they can, you can knock out a cheap horror movie in a couple of weeks and turn a pretty big profit. I mean, just ask Blumhouse. That's what they exist on.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if this turns into the sort of thing where, rather than having a team of writers, Like, they'll let people come in and pitch them episodes to make episodes for it. They could probably, I mean, maybe the argument against that would be the connective tissue part of it, if that's like more ingrained into the plots or whatever. But like, I'm thinking, like, because Masters of Horror was kind of supposed to be that back in like the early 2000s. Like, the idea that you could, what if you make a horror TV show, or a horror movie, sorry, you make a low budget horror movie, and then like an anthology TV series just picks it up and says, oh, we aired that as part of our next season. Like,
Yeah.
That's a really fun idea to me. Like, why not do that? And
Yeah.
it does mean the quality will jump all over the place. Like, we could watch one week and it'll be the best like little gem ever, and then the next week it'll be, oh, this is absolute
I
garbage.
kind of expect that with any anthology,
Yeah.
to be honest. It's rare they're consistent.
Which is funny, because this is the sort of thing where we'll cover all the episodes regardless of how bad the first one is. I mean, unless like the 6 in a row are like terrible.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, there's no quality control here.
Yeah, but like, as long as there's some quality here or there, we'll do them
They'll
all.
probably stick around, yeah, especially if there's only one episode a month.
Yeah, it's an easy. It'll feel like a
funny
nice
'cause
treat. Everyone
That TNT horror thing, that slate got
that fell through.
axed.
Yeah.
And so, okay, Hulu stepping up.
Yeah, yep. Although at least TNT have got the sci-fi slate instead, which they're hoping to
That's
develop.
true. I'm happy to have both, frankly.
Oh, of course, yeah. Sci-fi horror. It's kind of some of our favourites.
It's kind of staples for a lot of this channel.
That and your good drama like Better Call Saul and
And
what
just
have you.
quality TV, essentially. That's what. Do you know what I really want soon?
What?
I want a date for Westworld.
HBO have got a Sunday night show starting in February. I want to say February, March. I think when that's 8-10 weeks. Say, I think when that finishes, we might have Westworld season 2, and they'll announce it for like May, late April, early May. That's my guess.
One can hope.
That's my educated guess right now. But it could just easily be summer. It could just as easily be fall. But I would hope it wouldn't, because if it's fall again, then it's been 2 full
Like
years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. So I would
We
expect
were
it spring.
expecting it right near the start of this year, given how. But then I'm
How
thinking back
naive.
to that first season that got delayed like 4 times.
How naive of us.
I know.
So here we go. So anyway, next up, Paramount TV and anonymous content have won a bidding war to the rights to a book called Shantaram. It's a best-selling novel from Gregory David Roberts, which is a 2004 book set in Australia and India about love, forgiveness, courage, and redemption. They're going to make it a TV show. They're also looking for they've made a deal as well for the sequel called The Mountain Shadow, which I imagine would just be like another season of the show rather than a separate thing.
Yeah,
You'd
one
imagine.
would assume, yeah.
The book, there's a lot. This is funny. Like, the description here gives like a couple of details of like some stats about the book before it actually tells you the plot. So bear with me. The book, published in 39 languages, who cares? And with 6 million copies sold, still don't care. Centers on Lynn, a writer turned bank robber who escapes from a maximum security prison, becoming Australia's most wanted man, and makes it to the island city of Bombay, hoping to vanish in the multitudes. Cut off from family and friends by distance and fate, he finds new life in India among the people he lives with and takes care of as a, air quotes here, or there's quotation marks for this, doctor. In a sprawling slum, the colourful rogues and exiles who frequent Cafe Leopold, and eventually Bombay Mob, where he... This sentence runs on for a long time, I have to say. I have to criticise this. Where he finds work as a smuggler and a passport forger. Closest of all are Carla, the woman he loves, but who remains aloof and mysterious, and Prabhakar, his guide, with a big smile and even bigger heart, who christens Lynn Shantaram, or which translates as Man of God's Peace.
So sorry, let me see if I kept up. We have an Australian man who was a writer and then became a bank robber.
Yeah, he escapes from prison, flees to India.
Flees to India, becomes a doctor, gonna stick out a mile with that Australian accent in India, let me tell you that. And then, after being a fake doctor, becomes
No, when I say
smuggler.
when they say doctor, I don't think they mean medically heal people. I think they mean fix problems. I think that's what they mean by doctor.
Right, okay.
I think.
That makes more sense.
Because he has no skills as a doctor. Why would I think that?
That's what I was thinking, like, is this just an Australian con man? Just going, yeah, I'm a doctor. Go on then.
I'll heal you, mate.
Yeah. Just have a beer. It's all good. I don't know what this is.
Do you
There
know if
was like 12 things in that sentence.
Well, this is the thing. I can almost see, like, in my head, a movie based on a book about this, where he comes to the end and he has this guide who becomes his little sort of sidekick, and then he meets the woman he loves. It sounds like some sort of almost without the actual, to take away all the I'm thinking Indiana Jones, but take away all the Indiana Jones stuff and just leave it with him in the...
Not Indiana Jones.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, take away the actual digging and finding artifacts, right? Take that away.
The archaeology.
I take away the archaeology, sure, yeah. Yeah, to sum it up in a word.
Jesus Christ.
No, but I'm also thinking of the shooting at Nazis and stuff. I'm taking that away too.
And the adventuring.
And the adventure, but it's like that first part of an adventure movie where he arrives in the country and he's got a guide who lives locally, and then he meets a mysterious woman who he loves. It sounds like that, but he's got like a redemptive story. But instead of going off and doing the adventure thing, he stays there, and there's just like trouble in the city.
I don't know what to expect.
That's what it sounds like to me.
This is insane.
This could end up being a great drama. It could end up being a complete mess of things.
I hope it's not like a serious thing. I hope they just roll with it and go for the crazy.
Here's the thing. This could be a serious thing that works. Like I feel like if you take like Breaking Bad and like write a big paragraph that's this long and this detailed about people that he meets, it probably sounds just as crazy. Chemistry teacher turns into a meth chemist who works with an old student, and like, you know, you could easily
But this goes from writer to bank robber. That's your teacher to meth maker. That's your link there.
Well, no, because it sounds like in this he already did that years ago. That's just backstory in this.
All right, fine. But then he breaks out of jail, runs to a different country, spends some time there fixing problems, then becomes a smuggler. What? I can't. Too many things in one sentence.
All right, next up. Paramount Network. Well, Paramount TV was involved in the last one, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to end up in any specific network. That last one didn't have a network. This one is Paramount Network, which used to be Spike.
This is getting confusing.
To be clear. So Paramount Network is developing Accused, which is actually based on a British series of the same name. I assume it's the same name. It doesn't actually say that, but I assume it's the same name. So it's David Shore who's doing this. Accused is an anthology series in which each standalone episode follows a different character as they make their way to court to hear whether or not they've been found guilty of a crime. As we approach the verdict, their backstories, personal journeys, and the events that led up to them being accused of the crime play out and leave the viewers questioning whether each of the people are guilty or not.
So it's never going to tell you. Like cock teeth.
I'm shocked this wasn't done earlier. This feels like such an obvious idea for it. Like, you know, it's all flashbacks.
It was a British show.
Oh, sure, but you know what I mean. Like, given how many crime shows and how many, Law and Orders and shit we have, like, I feel like how did this not be a thing before?
Apparently, it was 2010 to 2012.
Okay.
It was a BBC show by the sound of it.
That makes sense. I'm not particularly. I mean, it's the sort of thing where I think with the right rating, it could be something, but I'm not necessarily. I feel like it's just going to be a typical procedural thing.
This had Christopher Eccleston and Sean Bean in it.
Oh my!
They got some casting to live up to.
Yeah, it was so good that we never heard of it.
Yeah, but how much do you hear about any BBC shows, even the big ones?
That's a fair point. Okay, so
and Andy Serkis was in it as well.
No, go on then.
I'm just looking at the poster on here.
All right. So next up, ABC have been given a pilot commitment to a series inspired by the musical legacy of Selena Quintanilla. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. Well, you were more likely to know who it was than that.
Not by that, no. Unless there's another name.
It's untitled. The series follows Alex Guerrera, a chart-topping, award-winning pop star who has been estranged from her family for 5 years. She tries to pick up the pieces when a crisis forces her to return home. Alex finds herself back in Texas, juggling a love triangle, the demands of her career, and the dark secrets of a family that she now desperately wants to win back. Burn it with fire, I want nothing to do with this.
I'm out.
Love triangle, dark family secret, I don't want any of this. Take it away.
No interest.
Take it away. But here you go. Which actually leads us to the last news story.
Oh, tell me it's not CBS.
NBC.
Oh, we're safe. Two weeks in a row.
They're saving the onslaught. They've got like tons ready to go for
They're just
February.
waiting to open the floodgates.
NBC is given their first pilot order for the 2018 to 2019 season, which is a good point. Yeah, we're actually at that point now. We're getting pilot orders for that season. It's called The Village. Nothing to do with the M. Night Shyamalan movie, before anyone makes any comments. The series follows the residents of a Manhattan apartment building who find that the more their lives intertwine, the more complex and compelling their connections become, thus proving life's challenges are better faced alongside family, even if it's the one you make wherever you find it. The residents include a recovering war vet, a pregnant teenage girl and her single mum, a cop with an unexpected love interest, a woman hiding in a terrifying secret from her husband, and a millennial lawyer who might find his grandfather is the best and worst roommate that he could ever hope for.
This sounds like they want a follow-up to This Is Us.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? Joe, was funny actually. See, when I was reading this, and I'm not getting this from the description, but I was sort of taking it and doing my own thing to it. It was making me go, do you know what I could go for? The way they're describing all these different people in this like apartment building, I could go for a Rear Window TV show. Like, I just imagined all these people being at the different windows.
Yeah, no.
And there'd be like a season-long mystery of something happening to someone, and like, but that's just me writing this in my head. This is nothing.
Yeah, that's not what this is.
No, it's not. This is Us too.
Yeah.
This is also Us.
I've already got This Is Us.
This is also Us. That's what they're going to call it.
Oh God, this is why we don't name things, isn't it?
This is Us too.
Oh, that's good. But you put 2 with the T.
T-O, that's what I meant. T-O, yeah.
No, that's better.
Or do you just go full, like, sort of, like, mockbuster with it and just pick a title that means the same thing? Like, so This Is Us would become, We Are...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another word for us. There's not many, is there?
No. Well, We Is Us. I'm trying to think of another word for this. Thou est we.
We exist. We are here.
Oh, you set it in the 70s and call it That Was Us. Come on, that's gold.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Now, admittedly, I happen to know that This Is Us does have some like a past like timeline part of the story.
We did watch the first episode.
We did. Yeah, I know that. I know that that's part of the story in This Is Us. I'm just saying.
Cancel your comments, people.
I'm just saying. That's what you could call it. That Was Us.
Oh boy. Well, there we go. We have successfully completed our first naming game of 2018.
Or you call it. You make a mystery version of the show, right? And you call it Who Are We?
Just This Is Us? Question mark.
Just put a question mark at the end of it. This is us? Just us?
Oh.
This?
Oh.
Oh man.
I don't particularly need to watch it.
No, not unless it ends up like, you know, with great reviews or something like that, or there's buzz about it if it, you know, is really well written. But this is not a bad premise. It's just a lot of characters.
Fine,
really.
but, yeah.
Well, that will bring an end to the news for the week. So that does take us on to picking our favourite episode of TV of the show. So we really have 3 options here. We have Star Trek Discovery, we have Runaways, the finale of that, and we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, Connor, make you go first, because I always make you go first.
Oh, that's fair. I'm going to rule out Runaways. I think it was a decent episode, but I don't think it was the show's strongest. And I think it was a pretty by-the-numbers final episode.
Yeah, it was a fine finale, but it wasn't like a blow-your-mind finale.
It didn't do anything above and beyond, for sure. So that leaves it between S.H.I.E.L.D. and Star Trek Discovery. I think I'm actually going to give it to Discovery, just on... It came back really strong and surprised me.
It did. I don't know if I can give it over S.H.I.E.L.D. though, because S.H.I.E.L.D. hit me with some emotional gut punches towards the end of the episode, and it was nice and tense. And S.H.I.E.L.D. really disappoints. I feel like Shield. I mean, Star Trek should keep getting better, and maybe it'll have a fight next week. But it'll be interesting when Counterpart and Alienist start, and we see how those compare.
Honestly, I think Star Trek's just winning for the surprise factor for me. That I'd forgotten that it was getting better, and this came out stronger than I was expecting. So I stuck this on. I was like, oh shit, yeah, this can be pretty good when it tries.
Yeah, the more we move away from Brian Fuller, the better it's getting.
That's fair in this scenario.
To boldly go where no filler has gone before.
That was awful.
That was pretty bad. I'll give you that.
Even by your standards, that was just shite.
Okay.
Do better.
All right. So Shield for me. Shield episode 6, I think that was.
6.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are picks for the week. So before we go, we actually have a nice announcement to give.
Breaking news.
Yeah, fairly breaking news. This just happened. So we were teetering on the first goal on Patreon. The goal being that once we hit that amount, we get a movie news show just like this one from the pair of us, and that goal has been hit. So this weekend you will be getting a movie news show, probably with the big 1.21 gigawatts logo at the bottom, with me and him being him.
Yes, it might be a shambles. No idea what we're doing for this yet.
I know I've got a rough.
Yeah, you've got a rough plan, but it's going to go tits up.
Schedule mapped out. We're going to talk about news. We're going to look at some trailers. We'll pick our favourite trailer of the week. Yeah, I've got ideas.
It's gonna. To be fair, this is kind of a shit show anyway.
Yeah, so it's not like we have much to live up to.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be on par.
So that's going to happen. I expect that will go up early Sunday, I think.
There you go. You got a nice end of weekend treat.
Yeah.
Depending on your opinion on that.
Well, if they've got to this part of the show and this one, I feel like they're probably going to enjoy the movie show.
That's true. It's going to be more of the same, isn't it? Just with movie stuff instead of TV.
So that's pretty cool, and that should be every week. Unless we significantly drop under the goal again, but that should be us every week. So thank you to everyone. That is great news. We're happy about it. You, I imagine, will be happy about it. So that's cool. So with that said, that brings an end to the show. So like, subscribe, let us know what you thought of all the news items this week in the comments. If you want to get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz. But yeah, patreon.com, of course. I mentioned that's why we're doing the extra things. So patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. There'll be a link to that in the description if you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, and maybe unlock new things in the future.
Just quick mention for any audio people who listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
The movie news will go in the same feed. So
that's correct, yes.
This will just pop in for you in a few days.
Yeah, the audio feed will change its title to just Mailed Fuzz Movie and TV News, and you'll get both in the same feed. That's true. That's a very good point. You'll have to go hunting for it. It's just going to be there. But there you go. So that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?